Hey, in this 5-minute quickie, I'm going to give you something to muse about, which I like to do on a 5-minute quickie. And it's all about your goals, your wishes, your desires. We all have them, because I know you wouldn't be here if you didn't have those things, to be a better you, to find your best version of yourself, to sing from your real voice, to get that confidence, to get that high self-esteem, and everything that comes with it. This is something to think about what next. So, have a listen to this, and then what next? Hey, welcome to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast with me, Paul Clough. And this is an FMQ, a 5-minute quickie podcast, which never lasts 5 minutes. It always goes a little bit longer. But it's a chance for you and I just to muse, to think of a subject, to talk about it for a few minutes, and then spend time thinking, seeing how it would change our life if we maybe developed it a little deeper. And maybe sometimes these 5-minute quickies will go into a longer podcast where we can dive deeper and produce processes, hypnosis processes, NLP processes. Don't worry about the names. They're just processes for making our life and your life absolutely better. Getting rid of anxiety, fear, all those other hang-ups and issues that we have, and have the life we deserve and make dreams come into reality quicker, bigger, better than you could ever dream of. But they're the longer podcasts, and this is a 5-minute quickie where we break down the complicated into simple, because in simplicity there's genius, and that's what we do here. So if you want to just think for a little while, see what happens, see what resonates inside you, and when it does, you go change the world.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, my friend, how you doing? Quick 5-minute quickie. I thought I'd just do one on the fly. And I wanted you to think. It's got me thinking. Something I'd gone through in the past. And I will be doing a longer podcast on this. But I think, and I'm guessing, one of the reasons you're here in Personal Development Unplugged is that you have dreams, you have wishes, you want to make a better life for yourself, you want to make a better version of yourself, or find your best version of yourself. But do you ever think, when you have a goal, you have a wish, you have a dream, what next? What next? Because I don't think a lot of people do. And on a longer podcast, I'll go through times in my life when I had goals and something happened that caused me to really think deeply. But I wondered, if you just go back into your mind and think, what goals do I have right now? What do I want to have happen right now? What am I working on right now? So it could be a goal in your career, your relationship, your health, your social life, financial. Even if you don't think they're goals, have a think into your mind, or go into your mind and just go, well, what goals do I have? What do I think about my finance, my career, my social life, my health, my well-being, my mental health? Because we all have goals of some way, some kind or other. And when you think about it, just ask yourself, when I get to that goal, when I achieve it, what next? And that's the issue. That's what I want you to consider. And when you come back to me and we have the longer podcast on this, we'll really hammer it home to find out what's next. Because that's what happens. You find people who have one goal in mind, just the one goal, and it consumes their life. It's all consuming. Imagine someone going for the Olympic gold medal, and they've been training for this for most of their life, even though up until maybe the last few years they didn't realise it was an Olympics or the Olympics and a gold medal, a world championship. But they've been training hard to be the best they can, and then they get the opportunity to go, well, I'm actually pretty good. I can train even harder, be more focused, because I have this dream now, to be an Olympic gold medalist, a world champion. And think it's doable. And they find the right trainers. They spend 25 hours a day, all consumed in this goal. Nothing else exists in their life but achieving this goal. And then they go through that struggle of actually in that arena against other people who have the same goal. And the thing is, they say no one remembers the second place. They only remember the champion. So if you do that for most of your life and then come second and everyone forgets it, what happens? But say they win. They become that world champion, that Olympic champion, and they spent all their life doing it. Sometimes that could be the biggest drop they can have because they have nothing left, nothing else. They didn't consider the continuum of that goal. And that's where life gets hard, gets difficult, and can lead to depression and things like that. So what I'm going to say to you is, have a think about your goals. Think about, do I know what's happening next? And it doesn't matter if you don't at the moment, because we can go through that in that longer podcast. We'll have a process to actually work through it. But I'd just like you to consider, have I considered what's next? And when you do have that continuum, that's going to settle things down. Because even when you have that continuum, you're going to say, well, what next after that? And what next after that? Even if it's in vague terms, you've got a what next. Have a think. Have a muse with your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, your beer, your wine, your G&T, or whatever's your little tipple. Maybe with your puzzle book. And just muse it. Maybe you're on your drive to work, your commute. You're walking the dog. You're having a run. You're in the gym. Don't take your eyes off what you're doing, but just think, muse. What next? Do I have a what next? And if you haven't, admit it, because then we'll solve it for you in the longer podcast. So do that and keep your eyes and ears peeled for that longer podcast where we create the difference that makes a difference. And that continuum just becomes a wonderful adventure. There you go. That's just a quick one off the fly for you today. Do well. And if you want a bit of help with that, by the way, just email me feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Because if you want some help in that particular episode, give me some areas to look at, to think about, so I can make sure the process that we do really encompasses everything that you need. Because that's what we do here. So I don't know, it'll be a week or so, maybe a couple of weeks, but have fun while we do. Time to fly, my friend.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.